A city drowned, the levee failures of Hurricane Katrina. The storm surge came with a vengeance, a force of nature that was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. It was a relentless, unstoppable wall of water driven by Hurricane Katrina's fury. The waves, towering and fierce, crashed into the shoreline with a power that seemed almost otherworldly. The levees, New Orleans' last line of defense, stood in the way. These levees were not mere walls of earth but massive structures meant to hold back the might of the sea. They were engineered to withstand the worst that nature could throw at them, yet they failed. Despite their imposing presence and the confidence placed in them, the levees crumbled. They were overtopped and they gave way under the immense pressure of the storm surge. The failure was catastrophic. They crumbled, they were overtopped, and they gave way, unleashing a torrent into the heart of a vibrant city. The floodwaters surged into the streets, rushing through neighborhoods and inundating everything in their path. Thousands of lives were lost, countless dreams shattered, as the waters rose and swallowed homes, businesses, and entire neighborhoods. The scale of the devastation was almost unimaginable. The failure of the levees was more than just an engineering disaster, it was a human tragedy of immense proportions. The world watched in horror as the waters rose, trapping people on rooftops, stranding them in their homes, and overwhelming rescue efforts. The images of suffering and devastation were seared into the global consciousness, a stark reminder of the power of nature and the fragility of human infrastructure. The story of Hurricane Katrina is a story of loss, of resilience, and of the urgent need to learn from the mistakes of the past to prevent such tragedies from happening again. It is a call to action for better planning, stronger infrastructure, and a deeper understanding of the forces of nature. The resilience of the people of New Orleans, their courage in the face of such overwhelming odds, is a testament to the human spirit. But it also highlights the need for systemic change. The images of suffering and devastation were seared into the global consciousness, a stark reminder of the power of nature and the fragility of human infrastructure. The story of Hurricane Katrina is a story of loss, of resilience, and of the urgent need to learn from the mistakes of the past to prevent such tragedies from happening again. The story of Hurricane Katrina is a story of loss, of resilience, and of the urgent need to learn from the mistakes of the past to prevent such tragedies from happening again. Engineering failures, the anatomy of a preventable disaster. This is a story of how human errors, neglect, and a lack of foresight can lead to catastrophic consequences. The levees that failed New Orleans were not designed to withstand a storm of Katrina's magnitude. They were built to protect the city from much smaller, more frequent storms, not the once-in-a-lifetime event that Katrina represented. Years of inadequate funding, deferred maintenance, and political short-sightedness had left the city vulnerable. The infrastructure was aging, and the necessary upgrades were repeatedly postponed due to budget constraints and shifting priorities. The Army Corps of Engineers, responsible for the levees' design and construction, had long known of their weaknesses. Internal reports and assessments had highlighted the vulnerabilities, but these were often buried under bureaucratic red tape. Reports warned of potential failures, but these warnings went unheeded. The documents gathered dust on shelves, and the recommendations were not implemented. When the storm hit, the levees were simply not up to the task. The sheer force of Hurricane Katrina overwhelmed the outdated and under-maintained structures. Some levees were overtopped by the surge, their height insufficient to hold back the rising waters. The storm surge was far greater than what the levees were designed to handle. Others experienced more catastrophic failures. The pressure of the water was too much, causing breaches that led to massive flooding. Walls crumbled under the immense pressure, flood walls collapsed, and levees were breached in multiple locations. The structural integrity of the entire system was compromised. The result was a cascading series of failures as water poured through the gaps, overwhelming the city's defenses and inundating neighborhoods that had never flooded before. The devastation was unprecedented and the human cost was immense. The failure of the levees exposed a systemic problem, the underestimation of risk, the prioritization of short-term savings over long-term resilience, and the tragic consequences of ignoring the warnings of experts. It was a preventable disaster, a stark reminder of the importance of proactive planning and investment in critical infrastructure.